So you've been on a world tour. You just came back from Russia, where you had a panel with Putin. What was the big takeaway?
Well, it was interesting. You know, it's hard to get good information, and you do these things because my job is to get as much information about the global economy as you can. So there was a lot of takeaways about it, just getting up to speed on the Moscow economy and how the sanctions are affecting it and what they're doing. So I thought it was good to put that information in the back of your mind and keep it in mind as you advise companies.
Are they the next place for you to be doing the next big deal?
No, no. Russia is I think it's a while in the future. But look, it's a long life. I've been doing this 40 years. And, you know, friends last a long time, loyalties, you get to know people. And look, it's a long time, I think, before an American company will be, Russia will be investable. But someday, maybe.
You were also recently spending a lot of time in Hong Kong with the Hong Kong Stock Exchange proposed takeover of the London Stock Exchange. What is the tone there right now? Are you worried about what's going on there?
You know, I've been around the world a lot. I haven't been to Hong Kong in a while. But look, what's happening in Hong Kong is definitely concerning. But again, the world, it's going to be, I think what happened with Trump and the China and the trade war calming down will be positive. And again, things are long. There's a lot of issues. You go back over, again, I've been doing this 40 years. There's always been major issues. But we tend to get through these. And actually, business is one of the key events that keeps peace and things moving in the world. People in business want to do transactions with each other, want to get to know each other, and it kind of supersedes the cycle of almost politics.
By the way, with so much time in Russia and China right now, what does that say about where you think power is shifting in the world?
Again, don't overdo Russia. I was there for a brief time to, you know, to get some information. Look, there's obviously China's important, but you know, it's interesting. We're just thinking about the United States was 23% of world GDP 10 years ago. And if you would have bet that the United States would have been larger or smaller, given the rise of the BRICS and all those economies, I think we're up to 25%. So there's a lot of hand-wringing in the United States, but we went from 23 to 25% of world GDP. The U.S. has great laws. It's got great capital markets. It's got innovation. It's still a tremendous place. When
you listen to Trump speak this week, and you know Trump, right? You've worked with Donald Trump before. How are world leaders receiving his message here in Davos?
Well, look, they receive it in different ways. But I think the thing that he did do, that President Trump did when he got here, was at least very carefully tell the story, and it's hard to get it sometimes, that the U.S. economy is booming. We do have 3% unemployment. There are so many good things going on. We are deregulating. There are lots of things in the policies that are generating substantial rewards for business and people and for everybody. And I know sometimes you can get caught up in the tweets and the presentations, but if you really, and I think he did a good job of just calming that down and saying, look what we're accomplishing. And I do think the policies have been good for business.
What do you think his prospects are, given that you called his last election? What do you think his prospects are for this upcoming one?
Well, look, it's too early to tell. We don't have a candidate. You know, in order to call a good fight, you have to know who the other side is. So I'm going to wait on that. I think there's lots to go in the primaries, and lots of stories to be told over the next 6 or 7 months. So I'll wait. Let's wait and see who it's between.
The other thing that everyone's talking about here in Davos, at least publicly, is sustainability and green initiatives. But 3 times just today, I've had bankers tell me that we're talking about green too much here. And so I'm kind of wondering what you're hearing. What do you think is the opportunity, or is it realistic for the financial industry and BlackRock, which is leading the charge here, to make real change?
So that's a complicated question. And let me say this. Look, we have to advise our clients on how to navigate in an environment where, look, ESG and environment's going to be part of what they're held accountable for. Now, does sometimes Davos go overboard on some of the requirements and things that they're talking about? Sure. People ask me why I go to Davos, and I say sometimes to find out exactly what the consensus is so I know what won't happen. And do the opposite. Because, you know, it's an extremely consensus atmosphere here. And but look, people are going to have to deal with the fact that large institutions like BlackRock and like rating agencies and government institutions will be monitoring certain environmental, social, governance checklist, and we're going to have to help our clients through that.
Well, you advised Aramco. Where does that fit into the situation here?
Look, the world is going to continue to use and need cheap energy. You know, there's 500 million Europeans, there's 300 million Americans, 350. There's 6 or 7 billion people in the world who still are struggling. And the access to cheap fossil fuels, it's their life. You know, India, China, Africa, they're not as worried about the environment yet as they are about, you know, making ends meet and life. So I think the fact that what worries me about this is the severe pressure on fossil fuels and the severe pressure not to invest in developed countries, I think might lead to a shortage sooner than we think.
Ken, real quick, what do you think the next big market risk is as we sit in Davos today?
Look, I just think markets are priced pretty much for perfection, and you don't have to know. This is something I've learned over many years. People spend too much time trying to predict the event. All you have to do is know that there probably will be one. I've learned you don't have to know what it is. You just have to know that one will happen.
This year?
You know, it may be this year. But look, I was saying today, if Lehman Brothers had made it through that one market, that 1 year, they'd probably be a $150 billion market cap company today. So you can't get taken out. You have to know that risk is possible, and you have to plan for it. But you don't know exactly what the risk is. You just have to know you can survive it.